If a successful harvest means the food on your plate, then the source of your success means the root system never seen. Where does success come from? Over the past 6+ years, I've been able to deepen my understanding of this foundational layer of getting what you want. In 2021, I moved to Spain and I lived there for 2 years. That was something that I had in mind. That was something that I wanted. In 2022, I got started with making money online and with my digital marketing agency. And I made my first 40K online with that venture. More recently, I was traveling in Colombia for the past 5 months and working online. And now that brings us to the one-to-one coaching that I'm doing on these topics of the self-concept, energy, mindset, and performance. So by digging deeper into this work and running experiments in my own life, I found one answer to this question that is going to be the topic of this video. So, where does success come from? The self-concept. The self-concept is who you believe yourself to be at the deepest level. And in reality, it's who you know yourself to be, right? Because you can only believe something about yourself for so long until you know that to be true. So your self-concept is this program that's running that you don't even need to think about anymore. You have these unconscious behaviors and stories that you tell yourself, all feeding into and reinforcing this thing called your self-concept. And this self-concept is bringing you certain results. And the interesting thing is, you have the ability to change who you know yourself to be, and in turn, change your results as a side effect of that. If you don't know me, my name is Carter, and I am a coach, content creator, and community builder here online. Now, if you've made it to this point in the video, it's probably because you are interested in similar topics here. And if I had to guess, you're probably an entrepreneurial type of person. You probably have a business, you work in digital marketing, or you work in sales, and you're looking to take it to the next level. You're looking to hit your next business or financial goal, whether you're looking to move countries. Maybe you need to make a pivot into a different type of work that's more in alignment with your purpose and long-term vision. This is exactly the thing that I covered with a recent client. No matter which one it is here, you're looking to take it to a different level. And you've tried the hustling, you've tried the doing more, you've tried a zillion different strategies, templates, Google Docs, etc. You've tried the chasing the things outside of you, but it just seems to be getting you further away from your actual goal. And isn't that interesting? It seems more like an internal problem rather than an external problem. And I only know this because I had the same experience. Now, why is that? Why does it seem like an internal problem rather than an external problem and an external thing? This brings us back to the topic of this video, the self-concept. The self-concept. The reason why is because there's something that you want and you're looking to make it a physical reality, right? But the universe doesn't actually care about what you want. This is the confusing thing. The universe doesn't actually care about what you want or how much you do. The only thing the universe understands is what you are, and not tomorrow, not yesterday, but what you are in this present moment. This is at the identity and energetic level. So you probably heard that and you're looking at my face right now and you're thinking, what does it mean? What does that mean, right? Speak English to me, brother, okay? It means that the only way to start attracting those desires towards you is by being the person now. When we have an external focus, we focus on hustling, doing more, things outside of us. With an internal focus, when we change our self-concept, we create our own gravity that attracts our desires towards us. Now, there's a lot in what I just said right there, okay? Let's take a breather. If you need to, take time and rewind the past couple minutes here, because this stuff does take a little time to sink in and process, okay? What we are saying here is we need to take our focus off of what the external world is telling us about who we are. And we need to put our focus on a new feeling state and on a new identity. And it takes a courageous person to do this because it feels backwards. It feels backwards ditching the external validation that we're getting from the outside world. No? So, how do we change our self-concept here? How do we actually put this into practice? And this is without having the full external results or full external validation yet, okay? That's why this is fun. How do we start by being this new person now without the external feedback? Luckily, we can do this in a very simple way. To change our self-concept and to change our results as a side effect of that, we start from the end. We start by focusing on the end result and not on how to get there. We start by focusing on the end. This is a very counterintuitive approach to what we are taught, obviously. We put a great deal of focus on hustling, on making things happen, on the plan, the next step, and then 10 steps down the road. But there's an easier way to go about getting what you want. I'll say it again. Focus on the end. Don't focus on how to get there or how it's going to happen, okay? Simply paint the picture in your mind of your goal already being accomplished and you living as that person right now. Make sure you can see and feel every little detail in your mind. And notice how I said earlier that we need to change our feeling state. Feeling is where you communicate your desires to the universe. Feeling is where you communicate a different energetic message to the universe. So, for example, okay, let's run through an example with this. What does this look like? If you want to live in a foreign country, let's say that's your goal. You put this into practice by closing your eyes and you picture yourself in that cafe and you smell the coffee being made. You hear the beans being grinded behind the counter. You hear the foreign language being spoken around you as you sit at this table. And maybe you look to your right too and there's an old guy in a suit reading a newspaper. And you're having this experience in this desired reality. You're living as this person now and you're sitting at the table. You even put your hands on the tabletop as you sit at this cafe. And you involve all the sensory experiences in this. Live as that person and let that feeling spread throughout all your body. Get good at living as that person who already achieved the goal. And you can do that with that simple practice. Take your focus off of steps 6, 7, and 8 and focus on the end. Focusing on embodying that person energetically. By focusing on the end and by embodying this new person, you put yourself on that frequency of your desired reality. This is at an energetic level. Remember, feeling is where you communicate a different energetic message to the universe about who you are, where you belong, what you're doing. And you can do that in here. Place your focus on the end result, the end identity, and let the universe get you there. There will be things that break and rebuild around you in your external world, and your main duty there is to persist when those things happen. You focus on the end and you let life, the universe, God, fill in that space between. It's a really interesting thing. So feel free to watch back the past few minutes because there is a lot in what I just said right there, okay? And this practice of focusing on the end is where you change your self-concept and over time, change your results with it. Don't worry about all the next steps. Yes, you have a plan, but what you do is a result of who you are. So having said that, as you practice living in the end, you will receive that guidance on your next step of action. Now is the point in the video where I'm going to tell you more about the things that I'm working on. So if you are an entrepreneur or working in sales and are interested in learning more about my one-to-one coaching work on this topic of the self-concept, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, and you can DM me self-concept on there. When you do that, I will send you a free one-pager with more info on my work, okay? It's completely free. There's no commitments, no email or anything. Also, like I said, there's a lot of information in this video. So I would encourage you to go back, take notes, and rewatch this to fully understand the significance of this topic of the self-concept. The last thing I'd like to mention is that when it comes to these topics, these aren't things you usually bring up at the dinner table, right? At least no dinner table that I've sat around talking about the self-concept, feeling states. So because of that, I have a Facebook group called Life Design, Master Your Energetic State. And in that group, you can connect with other like-minded people on these topics. So if you're on Facebook, you can go check that out. You can join up. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook if you're interested in my one-to-one coaching, and if you really have any questions in general, because I always love connecting with new people on this work. And cheers.